All right, everyone. We have another one of our Animator interviews here, and today we are lucky to have George Evelyn with us. Hi, George. Thanks for joining us.
Hello, hello, David. First of all, let me just say it's Evelyn is how we
Evelyn,
say
sorry
it.
about that.
Evelyn, no worries.
So George Evelyn here. So George, uh, what have you worked on that maybe my students might be familiar with?
Well, I did a lot of TV commercials. I've worked with the Trix Rabbit. I don't know if that's
Okay.
famous among the student body.
Yeah, everyone knows
Um,
the Tricks Rabbit.
I worked on a music video for Prince, the artist known
Okay,
as Prince.
nice.
Directed the animation sequence of that
Hmm.
thing. My most favorite, and I think the most famous in terms of YouTube stuff, has got to be El Kabong Rides Again. It was for Cartoon Network Shorties,
Okay.
and it was basically taking El Kabong, which was the Quick Draw McGraw character from
Yeah, right.
60s, and doing kind of a Mexican taqueria painting version of a El Kabong cartoon, which was
Right.
funny and violent and great music. The band was Calexico, which is a LA
Oh yeah, yeah,
border
I know
band,
them.
which
Yeah,
I
yeah, yeah.
love their stuff. So we just illustrated the song basically.
Right, right.
So those would probably be my top favorite things, really. Like I said, I did a lot of commercials and I did preschool. I don't know how many of your students remember their toddlerhood, but I did
Yeah, I looked
four
on your
shows
IMDb. It
for,
seemed like you did a lot of children's shows, maybe like 10, 15,
yeah.
20 years ago.
Well, these shows actually are on Disney Plus, not to
Oh,
plug
nice.
Disney Plus, but you can go to Disney Plus and watch Higglytown Heroes, which I
Hmm.
co-directed and co-created with my partner Dennis Morella. And then Sheriff Callie's Wild West, another Dennis Morella Disney conflagration. And then
Hmm.
worked in England on a show for Disney UK,
Hmm.
preschool comedy, and then finally Nickelodeon Bubble Guppies, which I think is still on the air. We did the design
Oh,
paths
nice.
for
Great.
Bubble Guppies. So yeah, so that's kind of a breezy overview of what your people might know. I mean, there's of course much more I worked on that never saw the light of day.
Right, sure.
Anyway,
Yeah, so as I usually start off, where does your love of animation or drawing, where does that come from? Like where does it start with you?
well, it's I'm really on the drawing end of animation. I've been
Okay.
drawing since I was a little kid. I had a blackboard when I was like 3 and just started drawing stuff.
Hmm.
So, and then I was a art major in college. I went to University of Georgia and was in the painting department. I got a
Okay.
degree in painting and drawing. Um, and then I my plan after graduation was to go to New York and be a painter and smoke cigarettes and live in the, you know,
East Village.
yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
But I got drafted, went into the
Okay.
army, and I had to do, I was an illustrator for the army, and that's where
Oh
I did
wow.
my first animation.
Oh nice. Were
With
you working on like
slides. They had slide projectors that could do really rapid. So I started stringing these stories together.
oh, okay, interesting.
It was in the training division. And then I got
Yeah.
out of the army and then worked at an ad agency in Atlanta. And there again, animation, an opportunity to do animation came up. And that when I thought I could should really do this. So I moved to California thinking this is where it all happened. And
Hmm.
the rest is sort of I mean, it sounds like it's easy. It's a slog. I went to City
Sure, yeah.
College for a while to learn stuff and, all this kind of thing. I sort of wanted to reinvent myself because I'd
Sure.
been working as an ad agency guy.
Right, right.
So that was
Just
the
you and
incentive.
Warhol switching over from ad agency to
Yeah,
artist.
what the ad agencies, I have to say to your students, ad agencies are very creative. They have to be.
Sure, of course.
So
Yeah, commercials is yeah, I mean, that's a lot of places where a lot
it's
of
the
people.
ultimate graduate school.
Sure, yeah.
And I was fortunate. I worked at Colossal Pictures and Wildbrain, both sort of independent studios where no two jobs were alike. Every
Sure.
job was totally different, sometimes a different medium, you know?
Right. Did you
So,
know, since did you know who were some of the other people I interviewed? Christina, sorry, I'm pulling it up right now. I
yes,
should
I know Christina she's at
uh
CCA.
Did you,
Richardson.
yeah, did you guys work
Richards.
together at Wild Brain or is that, were you at different times?
We were there at different times, I think.
Okay. The other person I
Um,
interviewed you, who I know was there, he was there like early mid 90s, was David Thomas. Did you know him?
yeah, yeah, of
Okay.
course. Brilliant guy,
Yeah,
brilliant
yeah.
guy.
He's at CalArts now and he does he's production for storyboard production for some.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
he's very
He
talented
did
man.
this show. He and another Dave, whose
Hmm.
name eludes me at the moment, I'm ashamed to say. They did this great show called Puccini's Yard, and it was like a dog, it was a dog episode. Hilarious, beautifully designed. If
Uh,
you could track that down and get, I don't know, did Dave talk about that? Because that was my favorite thing at Wild Brain for a
don't
long time.
think so, but
Yeah, I didn't work on it. Like I say, it was Dave Thomas. But anyway, and
so
then he
you
did Fairy Godparents, right? Didn't he do that?
he did that's probably the one people would know the most. He
Yeah,
also
yeah,
worked on El
yeah.
Tigre something something. I haven't seen it, but it was apparently very popular, very
Yeah, yeah,
popular Cartoon Network show.
yeah, yeah.
Um, so yeah, so okay, so you go to art school, you get your degree, you go work in advertising for a while. What's the next step for you? Like, where do you go from there?
So the moving out here and getting into animation, so I joined like animation societies. I joined
Hmm.
ASIFA, which is the
Hmm.
animation thing, and there was like a little informal animation club.
Hmm.
Through them, I heard about a job opening at a Hanna-Barbera satellite studio in Mill Valley,
Hmm.
where some of the work that the LA animators didn't feel like doing, they were complicated
Right.
shots, you
Right.
know, an octopus playing the bagpipe kind of
Sure, sure.
animation. They didn't want to do that. So that was sent up to us,
Okay.
Mill Valley, and it was set up by a camera guy from Hanna-Barbera. And Bill Hanna actually came up and visited us, kind of stormed through the office and left hurriedly. But and that was where I learned animation. I was an assistant animator, and we worked with this guy Sam Kai, who was a H&B
Hmm.
assistant animation department head. And there were like six or seven of us in the room. We worked on the Flintstones. They were still
Oh,
doing the
nice.
Flintstones for Saturday morning
Nice.
with Pebbles and Bam Bam grown up. It was
Yeah, yeah, I remember
sort
that
of
one.
yeah, Captain Caveman and
Captain,
Space
yeah.
Ghost. I worked on Space Ghost.
Oh, that one's still very, that one's been around.
That
That
was
one's had many
cool.
lives. Cartoon Network kind of resurrected that one in the 90s by giving it kind of like a
I
talk show
told the guy who did Space Ghost Coast to Coast, I said to him, I worked on Space Ghost before you turned him into a fool.
vibe.
I was
Sure.
kidding. Anyway, so and then that led to the job at Colossal Pictures where I was
Uh,
an animator and I did that for a number of years and then I got my chance to be a director and that was probably 1983.
okay.
It was a bunch of MTV. We did a lot of MTV bumpers, ID things, 10-second things that would always end up with the MTV logo doing something.
Sure. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, MTV in the 80s and 90s had a lot of
We
sort of
did we
animated
did
bumpers.
we did 100. We probably did 100 of those.
Oh, there were many.
That was and I probably did like 10 or 15, I guess.
Oh, nice.
So, and but what was great about it is you would pitch the idea. And
Mm,
so it was pure creative. And it was
mm.
10 seconds, so the idea could just be a joke.
Right, right, yeah.
So it was the ultimate grad school. So that's where I learned to be a director was on that series. And then I did commercials. And then Colossal went out of business and I went to Wild Brain, which was
Hmm.
sort of a spin-off of the Colossal animation department years before.
Hmm.
And they're great guys at Wild Brain. And that's where I got into, after we did commercials for a while, I got into preschool TV and I did that for 10 years.
Well, if you don't mind, let's back up a little bit. So,
Sure,
my
sure.
my students, they know what an animator does. They know
Yeah,
how
yeah.
you draw. But what can you describe the difference between what you did as maybe an animator when you were assistant animator versus when you were a
Yeah, yeah, of
director?
course. Um, the assistant animator, it's like an in-betweener. So
Sure,
you're usually paired up with a more experienced animator who can work really rough and really fast.
sure.
And then I would get those pages, those sheets of animation paper, and I would lay them on a light box and I would clean them up, put them on model. So it looked
Mhm.
like store bought. And everybody in the assistant department, you had to draw the exact same way.
Right,
You
yeah.
had to pay attention to the line width and everything. And then it went to ink and paint where it was traced and painted on cells and shot on film. So
Mhm.
then I became an animator, I guess, at Colossal on a commercial where the animator who was supposed to do the job didn't show up, and so I was battlefield promotion kind of thing.
Sure, yeah.
And they liked my work, and I started doing animation, which was good. Every job different. I still would do some cleanup for because I'm a fast drawer.
Mhm.
So I did work with assistant as an assistant animator, some really first class Los Angeles animators who would send their
Mhm.
stuff up. So Mark Kausler, who later went on to do Roger Rabbit,
Oh, nice.
Roger Rabbit shorts. So I really learned animation what doing his animation, but I was
Right.
already an animator technically. And then, like I say, the director mostly does storyboards, comes up with the idea, storyboards, works with a script if there is a script, collaborates with a writer if there is a writer.
Mhm.
In terms of commercials, the collaboration would be with the art director and the copywriter at an agency
Mhm.
who are calling the shots. I mean, they've already got the plot and the character and everything approved by their client. So I'm not going to say, well, it can't be the Trix Rabbit. How about we use
Right,
a
right.
funny elephant? You know what I mean? You have
Right.
to, it's a job.
Yeah, yeah.
So, and that's what I've done most of my career since that was in the early mid 80s.
So would you say you're kind of more in sort of the managerial kind
A
of
director is a
area?
manager.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It's a
Because you're
very
not
managerial
necessarily
thing.
doing the storyboard yourself. I mean, I'm sure you could, but it's more like, okay, let's do this and then we'll match it up with this,
On a show, I
writer.
wouldn't
Yeah.
do the storyboards, although I would do the revisions.
Sure, yeah.
You don't send it back to the poor storyboard guy. That's what the director has to fix when the client, in this case, Disney, Nickelodeon,
Sure.
etc., they have notes. In preschool, a lot of the notes would come from the psychological consultant,
Right.
which was sort of always weird to me. I mean, the things, I mean, I'm not going to argue with a child psychologist, but some of the stuff that they believed, I thought had nothing to do with cartoons, and I thought it was, but like
Yeah,
again,
yeah, I
it's a
understand.
job, and I would say, oh yeah, yeah,
Right,
sure,
right.
we'll do that.
Sure. Understandable.
I made my, I, this is a piece of advice for your students. In the animation industry, everybody has a long memory, so be as nice as you can all the time.
It's
You
true. I
know,
mean, you and
it's
I
a
just talked
small
about people
world.
we know, yeah, and it helped,
Yeah.
uh,
Especially in the professional realm, you want to be
right,
agreeable, even if you think, well, that's a big mistake, which
right, sure.
happens constantly.
I mean, it happens. I mean, in any form of,
Human endeavor, totally.
but especially in art related commercial stuff, like
Well,
whether it's, animation
the
design,
problem is
you
you're
always
at
have to sort of capitulate to, it's like there's plenty of projects I've done where it's like I wouldn't have done it that way, but I'm like,
yeah,
but
yeah,
I'm not the
yeah.
one who's paying for it. So if
Yeah.
that's
And
what they want,
the
that's their
sting,
prerogative, but I wouldn't do it that way,
the sting in art is, of course, even in the most banal product, you know, s- breakfast cereal, you
Right.
still get emotionally involved in the
Sure.
because it's animation.
Yeah.
You want it to be as funny or as good as you can make it, and if they're
Sure.
not on the wavelength, it's sort of depressing. Not depressing, irritating.
Well, actually, I mean, that's a good point about sort of the emotional attachment. It actually came up in a different interview with that David Thomas guy I was talking about, where he does mostly storyboards,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
he specifically said you really shouldn't get too detailed with your storyboards, at least the first draft. And he's like, and the
Yeah,
reason isn't
yeah.
because time, I mean, part of it is time, obviously. But part of it is like, well, if you spend all this time drawing this sequence,
Yeah, you're
you
putting it in
want you
cement
want that
for
sequence to happen
yeah,
in the
yeah,
story. You're not going to just cut it. You have too much emotional
yeah.
investment in this thing, whatever the thing is.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
maybe not to be whatever, but maybe the thing shouldn't be in the movie for whatever reason or
No, I
whatever.
know, I know. I've been there, done that.
So it's like I get that, and it's like yeah,
Yeah.
if you work on it
The
too much, you're gonna have too much investment
yeah.
to want to cut it. But that's That's part of it too.
And the other reason, I mean, to work fast and loose in storyboards is that suddenly the script may change for reasons that
Right.
have nothing to do with what you did. That suddenly
Right.
there's
Yeah.
somebody saying, you know what? The guy with the blue hat is testing really well, so we need to put him in the
Right.
story. That
Oh,
happens.
I'm sure it has.
There,
I don't
he's,
doubt that for a second.
yeah, yeah. There's a whole data-driven aspect to the animation industry where they're constantly checking what's popular and what's spiking,
I mean,
particularly now.
even before modern data, there's
Oh,
always
yeah.
been test groups, and this is testing
Focus
well, this is
groups.
not testing well, so let's, scrap that. Or just the whim of someone at top is just like, you know what? I don't like that. It's like, okay, now it's
I actually loved. I went to many focus groups where they had toddlers,
uh-huh.
3 to 5 year olds in the room watching an animatic that I had done.
Oh,
And
okay.
they had handlers there to say, well, Bobby, did you like that? And Bobby would say, well, I like the dog, you know.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
And the best thing is if you put in a joke and they all laughed, I would go like, yes. The 5 year olds get the joke and they all burst out laughing. There's no better feeling in the preschool industry anyway than
Right,
that
right.
focus group. So, tell your students there's always the element of review from all different quarters.
Well, going back to like the difference between being an animator and your job as a director. What did you like about being a director that was different than maybe being an animator per se?
That's a good question. I think being in charge, of course, obviously there's the ego boost.
Sure.
But the other thing is sort of recognizing as a director, you're kind of an orchestra leader. You're not the best tuba player in the world, but you are
Right.
looking at the thing and you are working with the best tuba player in the world.
Right.
So that I really loved in
Mhm.
in being a director. A lot of times there's a great quote by David Fincher. He says, I just hire the best people I can and then I get out of their way.
Right.
So that's a skill you have to learn as a director.
Right.
You
When
know,
to sort of
when
believe
to
in other people, so to speak.
yes, yeah, that's the managerial part, but also inspiring them and
Right.
listening to their beefs and it was interesting. Most of the 3 out of 4 of the preschool jobs, the work was done overseas, so I did not really have direct
Right.
contact with the animators. They were in a different time zone,
Right. Yeah.
different language. It
Right.
was email. But the job in England, this animation department was in the building.
Hmm.
So the whole production happened in one small studio, and it was great. I could walk around, I could really interact with the animators while things were happening. And if there was something that was really working well,
Hmm.
I had the power to say, you know what, we're going to give you a little more time. We're going to
Right.
adjust the board. This is funny. We're gonna milk this. And
Sure.
me and the other director constantly did that. So that's sort of like what it was like in the old studios,
Right.
Fleischer
Yeah.
and the Termite Terrace and all that, the directors walking around with the animators. That's
Sure.
what we miss with the overseas stuff.
Yeah. That's not probably not going to change anytime soon, but yeah.
No, no. I'll tell you this is my CCA professor thing coming
Sure.
through here. Video reference. If you're
Mm.
animating, shoot yourself acting it out on film and ham it up
Right.
and use that as reference. You don't have to rotoscope it, but you come up with ideas and the we learned to do that dealing with different cultures where they didn't quite get the acting tropes.
Yeah, I've
We
spent a
would
lot of
act them out, and it was amazing how well it worked.
Well, I'll tell you this. This is unrelated to necessarily animation, but before, when you would have airplanes with like, built-in entertainment systems. I was on a plane coming from, I want to say it was like Japan or something. Like this is
Yeah,
like
yeah.
20 years ago. And they had to play one thing that and this is like a bunch of everyone on the plane, like, it's
Oh,
different,
international
a lot of
passenger
international people
list.
who all speak different languages.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Good
And
point.
what they played was basically kind of like a prank show where it's like, it's very physical comedy based. And I
Yeah,
noticed that it's like, regardless of whatever, language they spoke, everyone got like
yeah,
expression and,
yeah, yeah,
person falls down or, surprise, whatever.
yeah. Or
That's
the
kind of this
comeuppance.
universal language of it, regardless of, the physical comedy works in all languages. It
Yeah,
doesn't
and
have to,
animation does it really well.
yeah.
Oh yeah, we're lucky. You're right. We're lucky. I mean, think of Tex Avery,
Right, yeah.
you know. Um, yeah. So, and I still do animation. I still do my own animation. I work on Procreate and kind of fool
Mm.
around. And one thing that I do, this is sort of another plug for
Hmm.
soundtrack. Do you know about Moby Gratis?
I do not.
Moby, the musician Moby is a sort of
Oh yeah, yeah, I know Moby.
electronica guy.
Yeah, yeah.
He has a website called mobygratis.com, gratis
Okay.
as in free,
Right.
500 royalty-free musical clips.
Oh, that I had heard about. Yeah, yeah.
And some of them are, you could make a little feature film. Some of them are long.
Right.
So, and it's the royalty-free aspect,
Sure.
which is, the draw.
Sure, of course.
So I just do put those with Procreate and voila.
There you go. Um, so kind of what here's a question for you. I have my students are kind of at the beginner level. They've taken, basic animation. We've done 12
Yeah.
principles, timing, that kind of stuff. Let's say someone's interested in, moving forward, whether professionally or just want to get better at animation. Um, what do you have any advice for them?
Well, aside from keep doing it, that's the main
Sure.
one, practice. Um, I would say start thinking about your artistic voice. What's the kind of animation you like to do? What
Hmm.
what what animation do you do where you're not tired of it after a couple of hours?
Right. Yeah, sure.
That's a good marker. Um, Joining animation societies, getting into the animation social scene. There is a CIFA. There's a Carl Cohen still runs it in San Francisco. They do a
Hmm.
newsletter and there's
Yeah,
festivals.
actually, I was trying to get him to. I've talked to them informally about posting some of these interviews, but his website is down apparently. So,
He's a great guy.
yeah,
He's an
he's a great guy.
animation booster from way back.
Sure.
Um, what else? You know, I think just not to get all modern futuristic, but getting your own YouTube channel, things like that.
Sure. Yeah, I
I've
think my
seen some
students are
CCA students who the work they put on the YouTube is like, shit, I'd hire them.
right. Yeah. No, I think definitely. I mean, I think nowadays, at least, yeah, having some sort of platform that you can somewhat
What do
control
you
and
ask your students what they think about the TikTok format, the portrait format as opposed to landscape? That's an
sure.
interesting topic of the modern age.
Yeah, I hadn't thought about that. I mean, I know obviously.
There's some good ones. I've seen some good ones that are working in that weird vertical
Mhm.
iPhone
Right.
format.
Yeah, I'd have to ask my students whether they're making content directly to fit that format or not, or whether they're just kind of forcing their,
Yeah.
aspect ratio differently or whatever. But interesting, yeah. Um, Here's a question for you. Where do you see animation going? I mean, as someone who's seen it from, different
Yeah,
aspects
cell
and
animation and film, paper to
sure.
cell to film. I think the AI thing is going to be a big deal. Already seems to be a big deal.
Hmm.
Interestingly, the students at CCA are planning on co-opting it.
Sure. I think that's
So
kind of the way you're going to have to do it.
that's the general thing. And I think there's legal issues. It has been
Right.
called, the plagiarism algorithm. I think that needs to be sorted out. You can't rip people off and not pay them.
Sure. I think that's going to be a lawsuit. Well, I mean,
We went through it with the music
yeah.
sampling.
I mean, basically, I, I don't know. I don't follow it from a legal perspective, but I know that like once you started affecting Disney, you don't want to wake that dragon, so to speak. So we'll
Well, look
see what
what they did.
happens.
They licensed 200 of their
Oh, that's right.
characters.
They license, yeah.
So
So
they're
that,
trying to get ahead of it. Those
yeah, no, I
losers.
know. I mean, it's always going to be what happens when major corporations start
Yeah.
coming
It's still
after the
about the ideas.
lawsuit. Yeah,
In
yeah,
a
yeah.
way, it might mean everyone's a director. Like
Sure.
in the Middle Ages, everyone could be a painter. That's it.
Right.
You could just be the guy that does this kind of painting. Whereas I grew up in the industrial animation. It had to be a big team to do the animation.
So you feel like it's going to be more
It
independent?
might, it might. I don't
Mhm.
know. It might turn into just clip art. I mean, it could go bad in a
Sure.
serious
Yeah.
way too, you know.
Well, we had that a little bit with like that's kind of what Adobe Animate Flash was supposed to be. It was supposed to be a way of
Yeah,
like
yeah, that's
producing
true.
animations faster. You had smaller teams like the people who made Homestar Runner and such, where it was like,
Yeah, I loved
oh,
Homestar Run. Again, the writing and the characters is
right.
what sold it. And the art direction was quirky.
Yeah. I actually interviewed Jennifer Scheinman who did 30-Second Bunnies, which was fun because that was a
I
totally
don't
an
think I saw
animation.
that 30-second bunny. I know a lot of the
Yes,
people
that
that
was
did
another one
Happy
of those
Tree
like
Friends.
that was another one of those. Yeah, like it was that era of like Homestar Runner, Happy Tree Friends, kind of.
Yeah, yeah. That was a cool age.
Yeah. All right. Well, do you have any sort of,
I can show my reel if you want to see my reel.
yeah,
It's short.
I'll post a link to that to the students, but like, do you have
Okay.
any sort of like, I don't know, final words or kind of things you want to express to my
No,
students?
just I'm glad you're doing this. I'm glad you students are doing it. You're the next wave of animation. You have my blessing. Go forward, do crazy stuff. Work
Sure.
together. Animation's a team sport. Find your peeps.
I agree. I
They could be
agree.
international
True. It's much
and
easier now to do all of
and
that.
learn whatever you can from whoever you can, really. Go to festivals,
Mhm.
you know. You can watch the streamers, but you know, try and get as big a range of streamer input as possible. Don't specialize with, you know, K-pop Demon Hunters. Although I
Sure.
love that film, actually. I think it's pretty
Yeah, it was cute.
brilliant.
I saw it.
So yeah, keep at it. That's my final.
Kind of great. Is
Yeah,
there like a place online they can uh reach you, like social media or any other kind of?
not really. No, I
Okay.
don't have a big, you know, I'm on Facebook. That's about it.
Okay. Yeah, and if you have a copy of your reel or something that's digital that I could link to, because this will be like a web page with
Yeah, can I send you that in the
yeah,
email?
yeah, I'll put that
Yeah,
with it.
okay. Yeah.
And so they can see the work there and get a sense of what you've done and accomplished and things like that.
Yeah, good.
Great. Well, we appreciate your time so much. Thank you so much for talking with us.
Yeah, I appreciate it. All right. And good on you for doing it.
All
Spreading the
right.
word.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.